Barry O'Farrell's controversial IR laws could be torpedoed by the Christian Democratic Party. Fred Nile says his party will consider voting to dump the new legislation if the government doesn't scrap ethics classes in schools. But the Education Minister insists ethics classes are here to stay. Bridget Glanville joins us now from State Parliament. Bridget.
The O'Farrell government has a large majority in the lower house, but in the upper house, the Shooters and Fishers Party and the Christian Democratic Party hold the balance of power. Now, Fred Nile and the Christian Democrats initially supported the government's industrial relations laws, which include a cap on public sector wage increases. But now those laws could be under threat. As Fred Nile says, he'll consider withdrawing support for the laws if the government doesn't back his bill to get rid of ethics classes.
Sandy Axum has been teaching a Year 5 ethics class since they were formally put in place this year. She sees it as an important alternative to scripture lessons for her 11-year-old son.
It's not about moral instruction, so I'm not standing there saying this is what you should believe and this is how you should think about things. It's very much them coming up with their own conclusions.
From the start, church groups opposed the arrival of ethics classes. Fred Nile and his Christian Democrats want them gone.
Well, I believe we should have a restoration of the original legal position in New South Wales. And the law stated there should be no competing course with Scripture.
The government has told the ABC ethics classes were election policy and they're here to stay.
In terms of a bill to repeal ethics classes, won't be supported by the New South Wales government.
But that commitment could come at a very significant cost to the government. While the industrial relations laws have already passed, they're now under threat from a Labor motion to disallow the regulations that support them. Without the regulations, the laws can't take effect. Fred Nile is now considering supporting this motion.
Will they be in very serious trouble because they obviously need the votes of the CDP to pass the legislation, and we still have the industrial regulation is still before the Parliament. The Greens and Labor Party are mounting a big campaign to disallow that regulation, which would torpedo all of the Premier's industrial legislation. It cannot work without that regulation.
With Fred Nile threatening to withdraw support, the government may be forced to choose between keeping an election policy on ethics classes or saving the IR laws.
Crunch time for the government is on August the 2nd, when the disallowance motion is voted in the upper house.
Bridget Glanville there reporting from State Parliament.